All right, fam, here we go. Another video, and actually a really well calculated video. We're going to talk Canyon today, guys. Canyon. Holy cow. What are we doing with Canyon? I've got a ton of feedback from everybody. Hey, guys, if you like the channel, like and subscribe. Like the video. Hang out with us. Join our Discord. Our Discord link's down in the description. The channel has absolutely blown up in the last 3 weeks. We're up to 3,500 subscribers. It's going crazy. And honestly, it's because we're giving you real relevant content. We're giving you real, what I call real rock life applications. Okay. And that's what this channel's built on. We want to help everybody become better players. We want to help everybody become better leaders and really optimize your game and really help bring players along. That's what the Discord's for. The community is absolutely wonderful. Great vibe in there. And we have a lot of fun. We take ourselves not so serious when it comes to this game because it is a game and we have a lot of fun with it. So let's get right into it, right? We're talking Canyon, guys. We are talking Canyon. And if we talk Canyon, we have a few situations set up to where, I think people get a misconception sometimes, and people, they get a little bit upset because maybe they're not very good at Canyon. But there's some little simple tricks and things you can do in Canyon to really kind of help you out and get better at it. And so I've got a bunch of tickets on my Canyon. Okay, got some people over here trying to hit me or feed me. Don't know why. But I got a bunch of tickets, and we've got a couple of pretty good players in our kingdom that we can test some things out on. So I'm going to go through a march tier list and kind of what are the best marches and what you use. I'm going to go through substitutions if you don't have certain commanders. That's what people like with my tier lists that I do. I go through substitutions on how, hey, if you don't have this commander or that commander, here's what you run. My commanders are pretty set up. This is the meta right now. This is 100% the meta. It doesn't get much better. There are a couple of nuances to this if you're a certain type of player. But this is definitely what the best of the best are using. And to give you some real rock life application, my Canyon is one of the best. I can go into any Lost Kingdom or Lost Canyon and duke it out with any of the kingdoms that I ever see. I love doing that. I think it's a battle royale. I think it's a lot of fun to get better and to see. And I also love it in Lost Canyon because you can see how good collectively, how many players other kingdoms have, and that generally translates into their field. Okay? So, with that being said, let me bring this up here. It's my little tier list that I always like to do. You guys know this. And we'll just set it up like this, and I'll move this over a little bit so you guys can see. There we go. Okay, so hold on, let me just do it right. All right, okay, so here's our tier list. All right, and we've got our commanders going down, and let's just go through that real quick. Let's go through the ideal meta situation that you have. And first and foremost, the number one thing that people like to bring, and you're going to bring Luce with Constantine. Okay, Constantine is still the MVP of Canyon. It's because of his big heal and what he does, okay? And you have to have a tank. You can utilize that tank to absorb a lot of damage and to keep high damage marches off your high damage marches. So there's great ways to use that in your attack setup, okay? And then you've got a Trajan Mulan. This is a big deal. Mulan provides a whole lot of buffs, and obviously Trajan's rage buff and his defensive capabilities are really good. This is your amplifier. This is what you want to use to amplify those marches. From there, Huonevsky is probably one of the best. Just single target, nuke it as best you can, and try to figure that out. So let me do this here. All right. So let's go ahead and set this up and do it like this. This has our best Canyon lineup, okay? And let's see. From there, you're going to go Zuge and Herman. Insane combination. It's great to have, and that's what you want to do. Right now, we do not have Ragnar in the game, but I'm going to do something. He's coming, and I'm going to do this right here. Ragnar CPO. A lot of people will say, oh, well, you're going to get rid of the Guan silence. Listen, we had Ragnar for a week, and I tested it at the nth degree. Okay, I've got players like Fluffy Pony and Chiskel's got a great Canyon lineup. I tested it against the best of the best, and Ragnar hands down outperforms Guan in Canyon. You just got to make sure you know how to set it up right. But that will be your best situation, okay? But right now, we're going to keep Guan up here because that's all we got. We don't really have Ragnar in the game yet. But when he comes out, he will replace Guan in Canyon. 1000%. Too good, too much AoE, too much damage. And I used it, and I used it at a very, very high level, okay? The other part of this is that if you do not have Huo, you're going to run Nevsky Joan, okay? And if you get in a situation to where you do not have Herman, you are going to run, and let me come down here. We'll just add my boy Zuge here again, okay? And if you do not have Herman, you're gonna run YSG, okay? YSG third relic is actually still really, really busted in this game. It's actually really, really good. And so that's kind of the lineup that you get. These are the best lineups. This is the best way to go, okay? So let's also get a screenshot of that. That's all good. Okay, we're gonna add one to this and say no Trajan. Okay, if you do not have Trajan, you're gonna be much, much more offensive, okay? So without Trajan, let's pull him off. Let's pull Joan off. There's a couple of different things you can do with this, but what I like to do, okay, is let me get in here and let me grab where is my Gorgo? She's around here somewhere. I know she is. You're gonna wanna grab Gorgo and let's see, where is she? Okay, we got our Gorgo, okay? I like to run Gorgo with Luce, okay? And then I bring this guy in the mix, Richard with Constantine for your offlane, okay? Gorgo provides a lot more tankiness, okay? And you're gonna do more damage. It's more offensive for your instead of an amplifier march, you're using Gorgo Luce, and then you run it just like this, okay? And so that's kind of the best way I feel it. You know, some people can put William Wallace behind Luce and run that, but I like Gorgo ahead of Luce. It fires off very, very fast. Gorgo does a lot of damage. She's tanky enough to where if you put her head up with a Trajan, you're going to be okay and really do more damage to Trajan. But ideally, Trajan Mulan is the best thing for you, okay? And so let's do this, and now let's say no Constantine, okay? If you do not have Constantine, this is how you're going to set this thing up. First of all, let's pull this down and pull this down, and then obviously Constantine. Now, the best thing you're going to do, let's assume you've got Trajan and Mulan, and the best thing you're going to do here is you can run Richard, okay? But that's not ideal, all right? Because Richard's best for Constantine. Okay, it's almost like you can't run Richard without Constantine. You can run Luce with other things, but you're simply going to do this right here. You're going to switch that up, and you're going to have this set up perfectly as a high damage situation. So now if this thing doesn't necessarily have to tank, okay, without a Constantine, then you can let Trajan and Mulan kind of be more of your amplifier and tanky march, okay? There's other different ways that you can do that. You know, you can put Richard behind... you can put Richard behind Trajan and get a little bit more tankiness out of that, and that's a good way to do that, okay? So, the other situations that we run into, this is what I would suggest you run if you do not have Constantine, okay? The only other kind of lineup that's kind of interesting on this is if you're in a situation to where you're an archer player and you have two massive archer lineups, okay? You have two archer sets of gear. I played in a KVK with 2934, and Hen was their king, and he had a crazy good lineup. Here's what he did. Here's what I would suggest, okay? Archers can be really, really good, and now that you have Shajar in the mix, you can do some crazy stuff, okay? So let's say we take out Gorgo, and what I saw was they didn't run Trajan. They put your tank march here with Luce and Constantine, and then they ran this right here And they put that front row in their defense, and it was unbelievable with a Huo behind it. It was absolutely unbelievable. So you can put YSG and Ash in there. But now that Shajar's out, you don't have to do that. You can do this right here. Okay? Now, Shajar is going to hit really, really hard. However, she does have a big heal when her troops get down to 60% HP. So, but this is the lineup I would go with. If you say, hey, I'm a 2 Archer March player, this is what I want to do. And that would be the lineup I would say you are going to go with. You got to keep Constantine in there if you have him. It's the best thing that you can do. Okay, let's say you've got 2 Cavalry. Okay, and this is how in Cavalry, let's go. Okay, and you're like, well, hey, how do I want to run my canyon with 2 Cavalry? It's really, really simple. You're going to take this march off completely. Okay, you're going to add Joan. Let's see, where's she at? You're going to add Joan with Nevsky, okay? And then you're going to add Belly with Huo. And this is very important because Belly Huo, you almost always want to go off lane with Belly and Huo, okay? The reason why is because you want Belly to hit when at least 3 marches are hitting it. And I'll explain that later. When I go hit Fluffy, I'll show you guys how to do that. But this is your best 2 cav lineup, okay? It's what you want to do with 2 Cavalry, and that's how you want to run it, okay? And so let's just go back to the original best canyon lineup. Let's see here. We'll go back to our original, and we'll set up that way. And then we'll also give you some different aspects here. Set this up, pull this down, pull Huo up, pull Joan down, pull Nevsky up, okay? And a lot of people will run Joan with Huo. I like Nevsky, okay? I know Joan's great AoE, but Nevsky behind Huo just melts whatever you're going to hit. It'll cut right through a tank march. It is absolutely busted in how that thing works out, okay? So, with that being said, let's get into game here and let's run some canyon, shall we? The first thing we're going to do is set up our defense, okay? It's really easy to set up your defense in Canyon with the lineup I'm explaining to you. Now, the one thing for sure is you want to make sure you've at least got 3 different troop types here. If you have the leadership gear, it won't matter. My gear, this is what I've got, and I hate it that I have this because I can't do anything with it in the game. But if you see here, level 3, level 3, level 3, level 5. So level 3 gloves. So I'm getting max troop count out of this lineup right here. Sometimes I'll put stratagems in for the greatest glory, okay? But I like the greatest glory because it's tier 5. And when it's tier 5, I get those attributes of all 5 tiers. And I'm not using that on my cavalry, so I might as well just put it on my Trajan. But that's what I run on Trajan, 3 different troop types. I put the off lane here, and I always make sure and put 1 siege with it, okay? It slows it up. So if they want to go off lane against me when they attack me, this is not just going to run as fast as they can. It's going to slow up to take more time. From there, this is my high damage up here. I love Guan up front. When I put Guan up front, okay, Guan, and I put a siege with him, he's going to run slower. So typically how you work this is that in the off lane or in the defensive setup, when your troops hit, they're going to wrap up, okay? So you wrap this up, they wrap down, and if you can time it out to where this is ahead of this, you can get Guan's AoE hitting the march that's hitting Trajan, okay? You can do a lot of different things there. So that's kind of how I like the defense set up. Okay, and so when my defense is set up this way, that is how that's the best way to do it. Plus, if I can get Guan, and you always want to put your horn on Guan. Okay, if you can get Guan to fire off in the front row, he's gonna get probably surrounded. And if he gets surrounded, he's gonna be able to fire off his silence quicker than they can do anything. If Guan fires off his silence before the march is attacking him, fire off their active skill, then you're going to win so many times in the game. That's the key to Guan. That's what you want to do with Guan. Okay, I like Zuge kind of wrapping up into the mesh because he's going to hit a lot of targets. And you guys got to remember, Zuge is very special. All right, let's see. It's because of his active skill. Troops hit by his active skill, the 5 nearby troops that are hit with his active skill, they're going to take damage. That's great. And you're going to reduce the damage for each one you hit, which isn't great. However, this is the key. This makes all of your marches, in essence, more tanky. Okay, because all the marches he hits are going to do 15% less damage for 3 seconds. That's big. That's very big in Canyon. Okay, and so with that being said, that's how you want to set your lineup. and we'll go back in here on the defense because there's other ways to do it. Some people will go off lane, or some people will go down lanes like this, and they'll put their Luce up there. Some people like to keep their Trajan out of trouble, and they'll run it just kind of like this. They'll put here, they'll do this, they'll do Guan here, and then they'll put their Huo with Nevsky off lane. Okay, so that is another way that you can run it. It all depends on who's attacking you, because there's counters for any way that you run your defense. It doesn't matter how you run your defense. There's always counters for it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and reset that and go. And let's go ahead and hit Cheesy here. Now he's really, really strong. His setup on his marches are really, really good. I don't think he has his gear on his Luce, but that's fine. But he's got a super strong Luce. Okay, so here's what I like to do. If you see this lineup, because this is what you see a lot of, you'll see Luce, then Trajan, or you'll see Huo or a damage dealer up here, and they'll put Luce off lane. Okay, here's what I like to do with this. I like to keep my Luce up here and run head to head. And the reason why is because if this is a Huo and these are too high damage, then I've got to counter that with a Luce and then a Guan behind it, or a high damage behind it. I'll do the same thing with Ragnar when I get Ragnar, okay? Because it's just, you're going to last better and you're going to last long enough. You're going to be able to beat these marches. And then here's my kicker right here. That's my best march. It's my best gear. It's the best everything. And anytime this is hitting 1v1, you want to run Nevsky, okay? And so let's just set it up how I would normally typically do it. I'm going to set this up here. And I want his Huo taking a long time to get to my Huo, because Guan will hit this maybe twice before even touching my Huo. So that's a good way to do that. I'm going to pull these marches back here, so all my two marches in the middle stay out of AoE. Okay, I'm actually going to set it up like this. And I've got a chance sometimes, just depending on how fast this is, I have a chance sometimes to get this to come up here and get in the AoE of Zuge. That's the benefit of Zuge right here behind Trajan. Okay, so let's run it and see what happens. It's an easy way to do this. Okay, so he's going to run this. This will hopefully get back behind my Trajan to where his AoE is not touching my Trajan. And I think my Zuge is going to be able to hit his Huo. Let's see real quick. We'll find out in 2 seconds. And yeah, it does. Okay, so his Huo is getting hammered by these two marches, and then obviously the AoE from. And the key is you want to kill his off lane faster than he can kill yours. You see how he's still going with mine? Meanwhile, I'm hammering his Trajan. That's the key. If you're going to set your marches up like that, that is the key. I call it a 2x1 situation, where I'm going to hit 2 marches on his off lane. I'm going to set it up to where he has 2 marches hitting my off lane. So it's a 2x1. Okay, and then from there, as long as my Trajan is staying in combat, these 3 are just murdering people. Huo is awesome for Canyon, because every time he kills a march, he heals himself. That is a very big deal for Huo. So this is a pretty handed to easily win over a really, really good player. Now, Chisco didn't have his gear on his Luce. I can just tell, because his troop cap on Luce is definitely much, much better. But let's go hit some other ones here, and we'll show you how to set up for these. Let me find Fluffy Pony. There he was. Okay, so Fluffy Pony is uber strong. Uber strong, okay? And I have a hard time trying to beat him head up or in any 2-for-1 situation where I'm going to tank these 2 high damage marches and I'm going to try to kill this as fast as I can. You see the troop count on his 22,000? That's massive. The troop count on Trajan, 138,000. That's insane. He uses a stratagem here, so it takes forever to kill his Trajan, okay? Here's the weakness he has in his defense. He has his Guan as his tank march. This is your tank march. This is the tank slot you put it in, okay? So if he's going to do that, then I'm just going to do this right here. I want my tank march hitting Guan, because I want to take as much off Guan as I can, because as soon as we engage in the merge and I kill his Guan faster than he kills my Trajan, it's GG over. Okay, so with this, here's the kicker and here's the key. All right, if you go a 4x1 like this, you pull Nevsky out of your lineup and you put Belly in with no siege, okay, because you want to go as fast as you can. Belly, the reason why he is so good, guys, is this guy right here. I got 4 troops hitting his off lane. So that gives me 9% more damage that off lane takes. And it works. It works extremely well. So let's see how this thing goes, and you'll get an idea of exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. So I'm going to set up and hit him while he's hitting me. Okay, even if he kills my Luce before I kill his, I should be in pretty good shape because I'm already doing damage to this Guan right here. And it's a good amount of damage, okay? If you see him, he's got belly behind his Huo, so he's getting the same benefit. We kill about the same time. They go after my Trajan. I go after the Guan. I've still got some rage loaded up, so I'm going to melt this Guan pretty quick, and then I'm immediately going to turn on his Zuge. And this is how you have to beat a player like him when he does not put his tank in that second lane, okay? So I'll get Zuge killed, and then I'll turn on Trajan. It's going to take forever to kill Trajan. Meanwhile, his Huo is going to be hammering me from behind because my Guan is the next one. But that's okay because as long as I can get Trajan killed with plenty of HP on both these marches, then I should be good to go. They're going to focus my Zuge now, and we're good to go there. So we've got him beat. Okay, so but that's how I have to beat Fluffy, because that's how good he is, okay? We'll go over some other ones. Jay is really, really good. Jay's got a good setup here. He's got great cavalry. He's got really good infantry. He likes to load up his best gear on his Guan, and then he runs the off lane with Luce. Okay, I talked about this and how I want to do 2 damage dealers up here. So I put a Luce up here. I put Guan behind him. And then I have my same tank march here. And then, since I'm going 1v1, I do not want belly. Okay, now I don't get that expertise, so I want to go back to Nevsky. I want to get a siege march in there because he's front row. I'm trying to pull him behind my Zuge. I don't want his AoE hitting my Zuge. Okay, I want to pull him behind so Zuge will hit him with his area of expertise or his AoE area of effect damage, and then my Huo needs to beat him as quick as possible. Okay, now what you have to watch out for is how fast he can kill my Luce and how fast he can kill my Guan, because he'll beat this with these 2 marches. But you just want to make it last as long as possible. Meanwhile, Huo gets this killed, and then Huo starts doing work helping get the tank lane out of the way for Jay. Okay, so this is kind of how I set up against him. I want to be slow here so I can get they're going to wrap up. They're going to wrap up. So my Luce is going to hit these 4 targets, all 4 of them. Okay, it's fantastic. And then I've got this pulled to where his AoE is behind my Zuge. He can't touch me with his AoE. So watch him drop. He's going to heal, and then he'll drop even further and further. Now my Zuge or my Luce is lasting. It's going to get killed, and then they're going to turn on my Guan. And when they turn on my Guan's got to last long enough to make this work. Meanwhile, because my Luce is set up where he was and my Guan was set up where he was, I'm melting his tank lane. Okay, so it doesn't matter if he kills my Guan. I'm absolutely melting his tank lane. Trajan's going to tank this stuff. I'm going to kill his Luce. I'm going to get a big heal right here when I kill his Luce. 5,000, great. And now I'm going to focus on the remaining marches he's got. He's got Huo up front, not very tanky. I've got him beat now, okay? Does that make sense? Now, a lot of it has to do with my gear and armaments, but that's the best way that I run some of this stuff, okay? So let's go to the next one. Let's see. King's a decent player. He's set up a little bit different. Let's see. He puts his Huo down here. Like I said, if I don't see 2 high damage marches here, then I'm going to make that a tank lane, and I'm going to pull him back here, okay? So let's do this here. Let's set it up there. Let me give you another tactic that people use. They'll do this right here. And you want Guan to hit this guy faster than he can hit yours. Okay, so watch how this works. You'll see how fast Guan, because Guan is one of the fastest marches on this thing. He will fly over here. So he gets 1, 2, he gets 2 shots at 2 bars of rage, or basically two turns of rage before he can hit. Now, he's never going to fire off his silence quicker than Huo, but what he does is he fires off that silence, and then it delays Huo's second active skill. Okay, so that's kind of how you have to do that. This one's a pretty good win. My Luce is lasting pretty good, and now my Guan and my Huo are going to start wrecking his Trajan. His Trajan's going to die before mine dies, plus I'm peeling off more on his Zuge than he is on mine. So this is a really kind of easy dub there. His Zuge is already dead. I'm already going to Guan, or I'm sorry, Luce, and he's still trying to kill my Zuge. So that's always a good, easy W. All right, let's see if PTI. Okay, now PTI is really, really interesting, and this is a caveat for some people, okay? And I can come back to the tier list and talk about this. He puts Shajar behind his Trajan, And it is really freaking good. It is so tanky because she does the healing, plus as a secondary, she does big healing, and then she does the healing when it's 60% troops remaining. Okay, so he's got a very unique lineup with this. He's got leadership gear, and I think he actually puts the archer gear on Trajan. It's crazy. Okay, he's mainly an archer player. So I'm going to set it up just like this, and he might even beat me here. I think what I decide to do here to beat a Trajan Shajar, and this is stuff you got to play with because you're not going to win every battle. Sometimes they're going to get you, okay? There's too much RNG in this. I'll put Guan here just to help with that damage, okay? And then I put Zuge down here to really focus on this. I want to kill this faster than he can kill my Luce. Let's see how this works. Okay, everything's coming into play here. Everything looks good. Okay, I don't have to worry about AoE from Huo. He's not going to have any. He's running Huo Nevsky, so my Guan is not in bad position at all. Now, the Guan actually provides some silence here because now I got Zuge silenced. He can't even hit me yet. And then I get his Huo killed very, very quickly. But watch how long this thing lasts. I mean, it is so hard to kill this thing. Okay, it's going to get below 60. It already did a big heal. It's still healing. And then I finally have to take all three of these big marches and hammer this thing, okay? Meanwhile, my Luce is performing great in the off lane. And now it's 4v2. They haven't killed my Trajan yet. You keep your Trajan in combat as long as you can because he'll ramp up the defense up to 60% when he's in combat. If he breaks combat, that has to start all over again, and it's really, really hard. So there's your win against PTI. So you guys get an idea. Let me just go do one more for you, okay? Let's go find one more. Let's see here. We'll get a couple here. Vader Sith, he's really, really good. Okay, this dude has got a very well-balanced, and he runs bottom lane stuff, okay? So there's a good way to do this. Well, he's running high damage in the bottom lane, and look what he does over here. This is a really cool little tactic. He puts a siege on him, and the reason why is because he wants his Guan getting hit by 2 marches before his Huo hits their front line with 2 marches. The reason why is because Guan will ramp up his rage faster and hit the silence faster. So it's a really interesting technique he's using here. Okay, so you come down here. I always like to go Luce with Guan behind if I'm hitting 2 high damage things here. So the key to this win for me is for Luce to fire off his active skill before Guan silences. That's the key to win on this one, okay? I'm going to do the same thing here that I always do. I'm going to try to pull his his Luce behind, so it's not hitting my Trajan. This should be pretty easy because Zuge is going to wrap down since he's got this on the bottom side. So this is how this is going to kind of work out. Okay, so as you see this thing kind of come into play, I'm super slow here. He's super slow here. I'm just trying to get him to not hit my Trajan. It doesn't look like it. He's going to hit my Trajan, okay, which is not ideal. So I probably should have gone Zuge or my Huo in the front lane so he wouldn't get the clip here of his AoE, okay? But bottom lane, we're doing really, really well. All right, he wasn't able to get the Guan to fire off before my Luce. I'm going to kill his Guan. I'm going to turn on his Huo. I got a 2v1 going on with his Huo right now, which is excellent. And my Huo is doing really good against his Luce. His Luce is really strong. Okay, so but my Huo's getting pounded by his Zuge as well. So that is a benefit he's got in that particular situation. It's not going to matter. My bottom lane is crushing everything. The Trajan's dead at the same time that his Huo was died, and then it turns into a pretty easy dub where all 5 marchers survive. Okay, so that gives you an idea on some of this Canyon stuff. There's all kinds of different ways to run this stuff, and just helping you make sure to utilize your tank the right way, run the 2-for-1 situations I run the off lane 4v1 situation, and then there's even situations where you can run head up like I've done a couple of times. So it just always depends on how their defense is lined up and how it works. So with that being said, there's your Canyon info for the day. You guys want to run one more? Okay, let's go run one more. We're in the middle of trying to do these forts. It's pre-KVK. We're about to have a massive, massive KVK. All right, who do I want to run against? I want to find Buster. Where was he? There he is. Buster's got a really, really good lineup, okay? Buster's got an infantry-based lineup. His Luce's in good shape. And he's got 3 special inscriptions on his Huo. He's got 2 on his archers. He's got 4 on his Luce. So he is loaded up. He is literally loaded up pretty good. And this is really hard. Sometimes Buster can beat me here, but I'm gonna run Huo. I'm going to run it just like this. And since he doesn't have a siege march in, he's going to get to me faster, which means I can get him into the Zuge AoE. And that's how I have to beat Buster. Okay. Now I'm going 2 for 1 here. So I still have Nevsky behind my Huo. Okay. If I was going 4v1, I would put Belly behind my Huo for that all damage. And it really, really works. Okay. This is setting up good. My Luce is actually clipping his Zuge, so I'm getting some extra damage on his Zuge. My 2 marches here are absolutely wrecking this. It's getting some help from the Zuge I have, helping with that AoE. And I've got his Huo killed much quicker than he's got my Luce killed, and that's basically what wins me the contest. Because now I've got my 2 marches killing this. I'm going to have all 4 of these marches hammering his Zuge. And now that he's finally got my Luce killed, he can't get enough on my Trajan. He's already lost all of his damage marches, and I got him. So there you go, Buster. Okay, guys. So that's your. Let me put this up, by the way. Put this back up here, and let me put that up here. And so one thing I'm going to do just for screenshot purposes, we're say Shajar with Trajan. Okay, if you've got an extra set of archer gear, this is how you can run this. Okay, it's really, really cool. All right, you can take Mulan out, you can put her in, and make this a super, super tanky march. Okay, it's actually ideal because you almost don't have to have a tank march with Constantine. Okay, and then the other thing I think that we've got to put together on this thing is your canyon lineup. Let's see here. We're going to call this offensive with, no, we're going to say offensive no Mulan. That's how we're going to do this one. Okay. So this is how this canyon lineup is going to be offensive with no Mulan. Okay. If you want to take Mulan out of it, all right, and you want to go more offensive, you make this your amplifier from Trajan and your tank. Okay, and that's how a lot of players run it. This is great for 2 infantry if you want to run, 2 archers if you want to run, or 2 cavalry. Okay, how I would generally set this up is I would probably go with 2 extra calves. I would run this here. I would take Zuge off the field, which sounds weird, but I would put here, and then I would take Joan and run it up here. And that's essentially how I would run this if I was going to do this. You can do that with archers too, just like we had talked about. You pull this off. Let's see. You put the Nevsky behind Huo. Okay, and then you run the 2 archer marches, rock and roll. Okay, there you go. That's how you can run this when you're going to put Constantine behind Trajan without Mulan at all. Okay, so there's always more discussion about this. I appreciate everybody. Reply to the video. I always go in there and check the replies. Also, don't forget to go on the Discord. You can ask me questions there. People do that all the time. They see a video, they go into my Discord, they tag me and say, hey, you said this. What does this mean? What if I have this? And I try to get to all those answers as quick as I can. You can join the Spartan membership that we have. You can join the Spartan 300 membership that we have that can get you monthly account reviews. It's a great way to really help enhance your account. Even if you're in the end game and you're an experienced player, trust me, I have to have my account reviewed sometimes. I'll have Cortex review my account. What am I missing? Am I not thinking clearly here? And it's always good to put a good expertise set of eyes on your account and help you with it. And with that being said, we appreciate it, broskies. Have a great day.